Tennis Hall of Fame. It is very special to me. Tennis has been such a big part of my life. I started at a young age when my parents gave me lessons when we went to Florida for spring break from Ohio. I kept it up all these years. From local tournaments in Ohio as a junior to college tennis in California. I was on the University of California Berkeley team and reached the finals of the National Intercollegiates in 1963. After college, I taught and started playing senior tournaments at the age of 35. I played in the 35 singles at the US Open until it was discontinued. In the Bay Area, I was a teaching pro at Diablo Country Club, Chabot Canyon Racket Club, and Oakland Hills Tennis Club. I have been selected by the USTA to represent the United States in 24 international teams. It has taken me to Europe, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, all beautiful places that I probably would never have been without tennis. And I have made many friends from all over. I won the ITF World 50 Championships in Barcelona, Spain in May '93, and the ITF World's Mixed Doubles in Croatia in 2018. I was presented with the USPTA Senior Women's Player of the Year in 1990. I am looking forward to many more adventures with tennis and going to familiar places, seeing old friends, and making new ones in new places. I was a member of the Berkeley Tennis Club and miss all the players that I used to see and play. My other love is animals. I have had Labradors as my friends and have trained, showed, and did agility with them. Cindy and I just got back from Best Friends in Utah. It is the largest no-kill sanctuary in the country. We volunteer not only with dogs, but with pigs. On one of the days. A while back, Cindy and I volunteered at SeaWorld, taking care of penguins. I've also walked wombats in Australia. Anyway, I thank Cindy for joining me here and thank all of you again for this honor. It is the day I won't forget.
Thank you. Always great to get a good feed from a tennis teacher. A man who in some ways is more than my tennis teacher, but also precisely my tennis teacher. Thank you, Steve. I want to also thank the committee for this honor. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate my fellow inductees, Linda, Carl, Kathy, the McLennan family. Great class we are. Congratulations and well done for all. A Hall of Fame focused on a sport is going to obviously focus on the people who play it really well. With riders, it's a little different. Maybe. A wise rider once told me when I started in this world more than 40 years ago that writing about tennis is a lot like playing it. You got footwork, you got hustle, angles, all fit into it. And the wise person who told me that is a worldwide leader in tennis media and a Northern California legend, Bill Simons. Yeah. I want to thank you, Bill, for giving me this start in tennis journalism. 5 people I want to cite who played a role in this journey. All are deceased. All continue to echo in my heart. My mother, Erna, was diagnosed with breast cancer in the fall of 1970. She was 41 years old. Shortly afterwards, we moved to Los Angeles. She had surgery. The doctor says, you get some more exercise. Okay. Off she went to a public park. And pretty soon, taking lessons and my whole family was playing, and my mother played till she was 85. Great career. My father, Alan, taught me many things. He told me, keep your lobs close and your paperbacks closer. So whenever I went off to play a tournament at some Cal State campus or park, all the places we play tournaments in California, I always had a book in my racket cover. Books like The Best and the Brightest, The Making of the President, and a copy of World Tennis Magazine. Racket cover, a little heavy. My parents sent me to a great tennis camp. It was run by Tony Trabert, former world #1 player. At the camp every day, also the TV analyst for CBS, and while I was at the camp, became Davis Cup captain, taking in tennis at the broadest level, learning how to play. Tony's at the camp every day. I worked with him as a counselor, learned what the game was about, learned about the history of the scope, and if I do say so, even from Tony, I learned my moderately elegant one-handed backhand. That was an incredible experience. My older brother Ken says something to me that you expect to hear from an older brother. Ken said to me, you know, if you play tennis a little more than you read about it or talked about it, you might be a good player one day. And that has made all the difference. 2 Northern California iconic venues played a role in this journey too. At UC Berkeley, I studied history and literature. The classroom was my arena. The library was my fitness center. Challenge matches came writing papers, trying to match up to the writers that really mattered to me. Joan Didion, George Orwell, James Baldwin. These were the people I wanted. Those were my Laver and Rosewall. Those are the ones I wanted to emulate. They taught me about texture, ideas, patterns, shapes, stories, how you weave a tapestry, how you weave a mosaic to make a story happen. 8 years after graduating UC Berkeley, thanks to the sponsorship of Barry Bullmore, Neil Rothenberg, and George Mays, I joined the Berkeley Tennis Club. Wow, what a place that was to take in the history of the game, the great players who'd been there, the great players from around the world who came there, I could talk about it with, the players who were there as part of the culture there, and yes, Ken, I played there a lot. I played there a lot for 31 years, and I want to thank all my BTC mates who I know who are here today to support for this. Thank you all. Finally, my late wife, Joan Edwards. We met at Inside Tennis, and our romance started in the summer of 1982. Picture a 12-inch black and white TV. We're watching the late night US Open highlight show. And we got Tony's the analyst. How great. Tony's favorite, my guy. And watching all the greats of the day. Connors and McEnroe, Everett and Navratilova, Austin and Lendl. And I say to Joan, there it is. That's the world. That's what I want to be a part of. She turned to me and she said, don't you see? You already are. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I wasn't expecting a formal introduction since I told them, oh, I'll just introduce myself. Hello, everyone. I am, as he said, Joanne McLennan, wife of Jim McLennan. And today, along with my children, Patrick and Kelsey, we are honored to represent Jim for his induction into the NorCal Hall of Fame. If Jim were with us today, he would surely share one of his self-deprecating jokes. However, I do know that he would also feel extremely honored and grateful to be recognized by the NorCal tennis community. A testament to the immense impact that he had on those who knew him. Jim loved tennis and was very proud to have grown up here and to be a part of this tennis community. The past months without Jim have been incredibly challenging, to say the least, yet the outpouring of love and shared stories about his influence on people's tennis game and on their lives has been truly overwhelming. It's a comfort to know that others also recognized how special he was as a human being and a supportive friend as well as an inspiring teacher. Jim was the anchor and light of our family. Thank you all for honoring his memory.
Going to be able to make it upstairs. I'd like to thank Mike for those nice words, and I appreciate him and the YTA. Let me get my own glasses out. Oh, you're fuzzy, but I can see down here. I think I must first thank my wife Judy for, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be on this stage right now. The support, the inspiration, the love of my wife. All my friends think I'm lucky because she has chosen me as a partner. She also was a great travel agent. Not by vocation, but application. Now that she is retired, she has a new passion, traveling, and like a good husband, I support her. I'm better, you know. We just finished a trip to Portugal, and she did all the planning with a step-by-step itinerary. She printed it out. She says, read it, know where we're going. So I did that, and all that I had to say was, what's next? Where are we going to go today? Where are we going to eat? And she always had those answers. Anyway, that's my wife, Judy. I guess I'd like to share with you my tennis journey was started in college. A lot of you in this audience started when you were kids, in grade school and high school. But I started when I was in college. A friend of mine in Salinas, in my hometown, introduced me to tennis, and I was hooked. I spent the whole summer trying to learn tennis. I hit with anyone who would hit with me, and I even took a few lessons. Returning to San Francisco, I hit the backboard again with anyone who would hit with me. I became obsessed with tennis, participating in a couple, I became obsessed with tennis and participating in a couple of strikes for the war and minority participation extended my college career. Judy graduated in 4. It took me 6 years. I guess after playing tennis a lot for many years, a friend asked me to coach for him in a summer program at Golden Gate Park while he was playing in a backgammon tournament in Monaco. True story. True story. That's like, look at that game. It took him he was going to be gone for 2 weeks. And when he came back, he said, I don't want to teach tennis right now anymore. So that's how I got to be the coach at Golden Gate Park, teaching the summer program for kids. By the way, if you don't know, at that point in time, backgammon was a serious game. There's a lot of money exchanged. There's a lot of good tennis played, but there's a lot of money exchanged in the clubhouse at Golden Gate Park. When my friend much tennis experience behind me, but I filled in the holes of my teaching experience. And another pro, my friend John Cervantes, gave me some lessons, and he asked me to work at his tennis program also at Burke's grade school, which is at the end of California Street. Very rich kids, little girls up there. At that particular point, a friend of mine, a college friend of mine, asked me to go teach at the Open Mayors program in Oakland. So I said, sure, I'll go. I interviewed with Warren Brown. Most of you don't remember Warren Brown because you're relatively young. Anyway, Joel might know him. So the Open Mayors program is started by, sponsored by Lionel Wilson and Warren Brown. Was an inner city program at Foothill Park, and what we did was 5 days a week we were out there teaching tennis to inner city kids. And the way we did it was we would, in the summer, we would have workouts and select kids to be in a program, and once the summer was over, the most talented kids we would have them stay in our year-round program. A lot of good kids came out of that program, but none of them became tennis pros, but they all went to college. I think that was a really important situation for me. And so I started out 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and finally I was working 5 days a week. And because I was the longest one there, I became the tennis director. What am I doing here? But I had some really good people working for me, Kathleen Jones and Wade Gilman. They moved to San Francisco and they were teaching tennis, and they were actually working for me, and I go, why am I the tennis director? Why aren't they? But it was a good situation. And like any program, like a lot of programs, especially inner-city programs, they had to end because we lost the money. So that's a reality of any program, of any community tennis program. Sometimes you don't have the funding, so you just have to stop. That program, however, morphed into what is called the Piper Jaffray program, and the tennis director at that time was Carlton Jones, and he actually was a tennis director, and I became the administrator. So he had the easy job, I had a hard job, doing all the paperwork, doing the recruiting, and working with people at Piper Jaffray because we had a mentoring program, and then, but after a while, I became actually tired of going from San Francisco to Oakland each day, and I just said, okay, I'm going to go work at, I said I was going to work at the NJTL in San Francisco. Unfortunately, a friend of mine, Michelle Montoya Deal, was working there. She said, okay, sure, you can come. And I started working at Mission Playground. Mission Playground is a playground in the Mission, located at 19th and Valencia. Now, if anybody knows that area at that particular time, it was a rather rough neighborhood. There was a lot of gangs, and there were some shootings, and so we had to be careful with our kids. And we even had a policeman come in every day to check in on our program. So it was a kind of a rough time, but our program grew, and we established a junior team, tennis team, a tournament team. We even had a ball kid team coming out of that program. We would always go to the Bank of the West, and our day for that tournament, I think, was Wednesday. which was the YTA Day. The YTA Day had a banquet on Wednesday, and so we always were there staying. So that so the people could see us, or our kids, working tournament. One of the things that Warren Brown started was the Minority Participation Committee, and that has since morphed into the DE&I committee. But he asked Ron Grant to be chairman, and he asked Ron Grant to ask me to be a member of that committee. So we were actually part of founding, one of the founding sections had a minority participation committee, and we did some really great. I think we did some really great things. We gave out grants, we gave out scholarships. To this day, we give out $2,000 scholarship to 4 kids every year, and that is renewable for every year that they're in college. And so I'm really proud of that. And we also had a newsletter that was edited by Sharon Smith Monty, my friend, my longtime friends. We did some good work, but I did some really good work with her. And I was kind of upset one day because in the newsletter one day I see there's a picture of me, and I go, oh no. And I had the tight white shorts, I had the headband, and kids used to call me Milos. I wasn't left-handed, but I had to have it. And it was a significant picture in the newsletter, and I was going, Sharon, why did you do that? But we had a good newsletter. I think one of the best newsletters in any of the sections. And so I was a member of the NBC, and after a few years, my good friend Mark Manning, and some of you know him, he was an icon in NorCal. He asked me to become a board member. And because he was my friend, I said, sure, why not? And little did I know what I was stepping into. Steve Louie, the executive director at that time, he knows what was going on at the board level. But I stayed for 4 years, and I decided I'm tired of this, and so I got off the board. But I also, at that particular time, decided, well, I'm not in the board. I think I should go into it. I'll apply for our national committee. And I think that was one of the best decisions I made, because it also rounded out my education. And I think Martha Ehrenfeld was out there somewhere, said that she wanted to become a national committee member, and I said, go for it. So she's applying this year. I forgot to mention one of the things that we did in the NC was started a program to recruit inner city coaches to the PTR. And what we did was we would go out and hold certification and testing workshops. And after a couple years, I was leading those testing workshops. And one of the lessons that my wife did, because she was one of the testees, she was given Rosie Maurice decided to become a PTR member. And the problem with that was, and I didn't know this, was that she was the head, she was the tennis director at the Harbor Bay Club. I'm going, and if I knew this, I would have gone. No way, you can go without being tested. But anyway, she took the test, and she tested my wife on the serve. And later on, in front of Rosie, she says, Carl, that is the best serve lesson I have ever had. And still, she says that. I'm done. Oh, thank you very much. So as the year, as you can see, the years I've been busy coaching, doing committee work, and now travel, I spend less time coaching and more time traveling, it seems. Much to the chagrin of Mike and my boss, Chapon, and Wing Yen. But you know, guys, I support my wife's passion, right? So I know it's tough, but somebody has to do it. I won't quit coaching until my body says it's time, and I still have fun on the course with the kids. I want to say thank you to NorCal, everybody here in the NorCal family, and thank you to the YTA.
Linda and I shared the same coach at a different time, Jack Shaw. Many of you know. Linda, I've got to ask this question before you start. No, okay, you can't ask me. No, okay. I had the experience of Jack when I played a pretty bad match. I walked up to him just to get some kind of coaching, what I should have done, and he said to me, "Don't get too close to me. I don't want anybody to know that I coach you." So bad. I don't think it ever happened to you. I gotta verify.
All these familiar faces. My voice usually carries, so I don't think I need a mic, but if you can't hear me, let me know. Can't hear me. Good afternoon to all. As I said, so many very familiar faces from my past in this room. Thanks so much to my sister Jeannie for that lovely introduction. Neither of us is very comfortable with public speaking. You did great, girl. How lucky am I to have you as my sister and best friend? Next, okay, here we go. Congratulations to my fellow inductees as well as those previously inducted. This is an award that I did not expect and yet am so very honored to receive. I think I have Pina to thank for that. P, where are you? For believing that I should be part of this amazing list of players, writers, and coaches. It's hard to believe that it's been roughly 50 years since Peanut and I played our first match. The reflections that have come with this induction are many. On that list is the special friendship, like Peanut, that came from what started out as competitors. And may I say, I didn't expect Barry and Dana here. Same goes, girls. Love you for coming. Next on my thank you list is to NorCal Tennis and all those who took the time to put on this event and make it such a very special day for me. A shout out to Becca. Becca, where are you? I leaned on Becca over the last 6 months for just about every little thing. Thank you very much. Tennis is primarily an individual sport, especially once the match begins. Prior to saying, these go, there were many hours of practice and training involved in that very important, lost my way there. Involved in that very important part are the coaches who help shape my game. Although my primary coach, Jack Shaw, funny enough, is no longer with us, a big thank you to him for all he did and all he put up with. There was a couple of coaches when I first started that I'd also like to mention. Joe Wolfson, my first and special instructor, followed by Ed Murphy. I believe he would be considered to have started one of the first tennis academies, which is saying something given all the tennis academies we have. Although tennis has been part of my life far past my playing days. In fact, I spent more time teaching than playing over the years. Jim Coyne, one of the best coaches I've ever seen, and had the privilege to work with. Thank you for hiring me at the Claremont Hotel after I'd been away from the game for so very long, and then again recently at Sleepy Hollow. I'm so glad we shared this time on the courts. Through Jim, I had the pleasure of meeting his wife, Linda, who I adore. Thank you both for being here today.
It's the name.
And also here today are Kathy and Jay Nolan, who have been there for me in every way that truly matters in my recent years. Very, very special friends whom I'm so happy to have in my life, like literally on a daily basis. Also at my table are Jim, Jeannie's husband. He has been part of my life since my early teens. He used to occasionally pick me up for tournaments and airports, really much more like a brother than a brother-in-law. Their kids, Caroline and Kev, their significant others, Sid and Matt, so cool that they took time out of their young lives to be here today. Almost done, guys. We're almost out of here. So to table number 5, the biggest thank you of all, I love you all. I would be remiss to not mention the 3 most important people in my life who are not here today. My late husband, Dorian, who I spent 25 beautiful years with. My mom, who also is no longer with us. I definitely hit the jackpot with her as my mom. Both are always with me. They now live in my heart and my memories. My dad, who was most excited and proud when I told him, shared the news of this induction. He is healthy, happy, and living in Palm Desert. Like my mom, my dad was and remains the best dad a girl could ever have. From the beginning of my tennis career, they encouraged, supported, and rooted for me. But most important, they allowed it to be mine. No pressure ever from them. A quick thought on my tennis. I think how different my life would have been had I not passed by those 2 courts every day on my way to elementary school, begged my parents to let me play, which they did, and the rest is the story of my life, both on and off the court. And we certainly have no time for that, thank goodness. Thanks for this wonderful award. Love to see everybody who I didn't mention. Gordon Collins, I could go on